start. This is the best setup I can have as of now. I tried a lot on my streaming software for the last, I think, half an hour or so. Not exactly half an hour, but at least 15 to 20 minutes. So I tried a lot to set the screen in such a way that I'm able to record myself properly. Now I wanted to make a video on Maryada or natural limits because nature puts certain limits on us, and we sometimes want to cross those limits. And ironically, I encountered some natural limits on my video uh, capturing skills, streaming setup skills, and I kind of, again, I'm facing the same natural limits on my setup. So the reason I'm recording this video is, my channel has been almost mm, dormant for a long amount of time, and I now know that the views, the watch hours, the reach, the engagement, everything has gone down, and mostly it has happened because of my inadequacy to add something of value. When I had started this channel, I really wanted to just talk. Now that I have had good amount of time and opportunity to share whatever I know, I feel that what else do I have to share which can add value? Because I can make the videos which get get me certain views and keep the channel active. But that's not going to bring any, joy to the process. And if the process does not have any joy, why do I even need to do that? Anyway, this is not my data. This is not a job which I'm doing. This is just something which I do for, my outlet. So when we talk about outlet, there comes the concept of uh, restrictions, controls, limits, restraint. So restraint, in essence, is from within, and somehow you are the one who is putting that restraint. But when I talk about Maryada, it's a limit by nature. So you may think that you can cross Maryada or natural limits, like speed of light, we know is the Maryada for speed. That's the highest possible speed achievable. Not more. We cannot have more speed than that. Similarly, there could be many Maryadas, and no, I know that a lot of things which would say now might not be very palatable and might not be very familiar. But someone who did not have Maryada was, from Ramayana. There's a character called Ravan, and quite apt and poetic that Sri Ram was Maryada Purushottam. That does not mean that he is not criticized. Sri Ram, being Maryada Purushottam, is subject to criticism till now. We worship him, But there are a lot of people in society who question him, and I don't need to, you know, give you the instances where he is being put on the spot, where he is being judged critically. So it's easy to make someone God, because the moment you put someone on a pedestal of a divine being, uh, rather I would say, mm, someone who is God, you don't have to think of emulating him. You don't have to think of imbibing his qualities. You can just treat it him like an unachievable ideal, like infinity. So very conveniently, we have, you know, created a concept of infinity, a number which we can't reach. Similarly, we have created a concept of God, something which we cannot reach, something which we cannot be. So, as I was saying, Sri Ram, being Maryada Purushottam, treated like a god. But what about Sri Ram, the son? Was he treated like a son? What about Sri Ram, the king, who is also a husband? So, where his subjects treating him as also a normal husband? Sri Ram, a character of an epic, or I would say an historical personality, which dates so long back that we don't even know what were the mores of those times. So we don't know what exactly was happening and why he took certain steps. So it's open to interpretation that whether he is right or wrong, whether those actions were justified or not. But only when we have considered the scope of Desh Kal Patra. Because, even Buddha has, six rules of speech, or rather six types of speech. And the essence of that is Buddha only speaks, or rather, I would say Tathagat only speaks when it's truthful, factual, beneficial, and it is the right time to say so. He does not bother about agreeableness or sweet sounding, or I mean some other, how to put it, some other things which generally people go by. His idea, his criteria is simple. I will only speak when I will only speak the truth when it's necessary for me to do so. Now, why can't we think of Sri Ram as one of us? And given that he's one of us, all of us have certain natural limits or Maryada. And only one of us can be, you know, at the pinnacle of that. You can debate that there could be two people at the top or three people at the top, but the top is just one position. So even if everybody is at the top, then everybody becomes a Maryada Purushottam. But the moment you have a hierarchy, there is the topmost level. So they can only be one topmost level. Even if there are two levels, then also the top is just one. So if we're saying that Sri Ram is Maryada Purushottam, then also he is amongst us first and he is the topmost hierarchy. So why can't we think of it like that? Because even Sri Krishna, who was also a full avatar of Vishnu, he had his ways. But we tend to pile on a lot of criticism on Sri Ram, and we tend to use the phrase Maryada Purushottam in not so nice way. So the concept of Maryada is important because it's like we are trying to have a mindful understanding of what's possible and what's not possible. And it's always dependent on where you are and when you are. So there is no objective, universal, timeless criteria. You have to sense what is going to be the Maryada for a particular time frame or a particular period or a particular action. So I was basically recording this video to get some action, rather content development restarted on this channel, because obviously I want this channel to be active, and only if I record some videos, stream some lives, then only there will be a hope of engagement, and then only I would have some kind of consistency of making video content. I do understand that my video library on this channel is immense, and mostly the people who watch my channel are either preparing for masters in economics entrance examinations, or they want to get into data science analytics, and they just chanced on one of the two video one of few videos which talk about data science careers. Now I don't know what will be the future trajectory of the content, but I'm now looking at a more realistic, broader perspective. Actually speaking, I have always been, only in the first year or so, I was focused on masters in economics. But after that, I had really understood that I need to put more variety to make this channel feasible. Because the reason the channel was set up was that I love talking. I love to talk, and I don't want to restrict myself to a particular genre or a particular niche, so to say. I think there is a space for everyone on YouTube, and I think there's space for a person like me as well, who cannot be, you know, pigeonholed into one category. So that's the kind of concept which I had for this video. Now, there could be a lot of general queries, um, I mean, about different things which you watch on this channel. And I see a lot of comments as well on different videos. And sometimes I wish I could reply to all those comments. And I mean it. But it's just that I don't really have that, mental and intellectual bandwidth so that I can reply with kindness, compassion, and sincerity. So, my rule is simple: if I'm engaging with someone, I would love to be as kind as possible, as compassionate as possible, and as sincere as possible. So, I think this KCS framework is what I want to live by: kind, compassionate, and sincere. So, a lot of times I don't reply to comments because I can't ensure those three. So, if I feel that I can't ensure those three attributes with my interaction, I delay replying to comments. Sometimes you may say that I'm procrastinating or I'm being lazy. That could also be right. Who knows? But I would rather like to believe that I go by the principle of kindness, compassion, and sincerity. So maybe this is a topic for another video. That why do I want to be so kind, compassionate, and sincere? And obviously, I'm not someone who uh, believes in being humble brag. I believe in speaking what actually is going through my mind without a lot of filters, because a lot of people have, you know quite absurd garbage going on in their mind. But over the last, I think, a decade or so, I have tried to, make my mind as less of residual matter, residual thought as possible. And there's one more word in Hindi called nirmal. Nirmal means without mal. Mal is residue. So nirmal means without residue. So I've tried to make my mind as nirmal as possible. Okay, again, this is sounding like a brag, but I have tried a lot to make my mind in such a way that when I speak, it's uh, as much you know uh, appropriate as when someone is being very watchful while speaking. So I have to tell you that I'm not very watchful about what I'm saying. I'm very watchful about what I'm thinking. And if I'm very watchful about what I'm thinking, naturally what I will speak will have that same mindfulness. So I feel that speaking as an action is not really something which I control a lot. What I control is my thoughts, what I'm thinking. And due to those thoughts, controlled thoughts, the speech also is controlled. So that's the reason you see that there's a lot of pauses, and I have a lot of, spacing between my words as well, and it's very slow because I'm genuinely just relaying you my mind. Whatever is going on my mind, I'm saying it upfront, and I'm choosing what enters in my mind whenever I record such video or go live, or I'm in such a setting where it requires me to be more mindful and watchful of my thoughts. To someone who is very new to this channel and just watched a couple of, entrance preparation videos, they would feel what kind of absurdity is going on in this live stream. And you are right. This actually is like a, early morning absurd thoughts session. So with that, I feel I have done my job of rekindling some kind of engagement on this channel. And after a while I will try to trim the video, this live stream, because in the beginning of this live stream, around I think 7 or 8 months, sorry, 7 or 8 minutes or so, there was something happening. It was just me trying to set up the uh, frame, rather the cameras, camera position, and all those things. So yeah, I mean, have a happy weekend because today is a Saturday, early morning Saturday, and if you're preparing for any exam, I would only say that give your best and don't get worried about. I know that sounds vain, but still, I would say that if you are feeling stressed about something, don't fight it. Have a goal in mind that you have to appear for this exam and prepare for this exam. That's it. Whatever is happening is extra. That's noise. Noise will be there always because when you go on the road, there will be traffic. So treat stress as traffic. It's like there. It will be there. But you still have to get the job done. You still have to move from point A to point B. So yeah, the famous, uh, shloka from Gita. You only have right over your karma, your actions. So you have to get the job done. You don't have to crib about what's going to be the result or what you're going to do about your uh, career after the exam. So I would say that have this perspective in your mind that give your best and leave everything uh, at the hands of a higher uh, source, something, a source which is like governing everything. I mean, at least you can have this thought, maybe not a lot scientific, but